Hey guys, this is Benji4114 and I'm starting this new series called Everything About New World. In this episode, we will be going over how to improve your gear to make you ready for speedruns. With the leaderboards coming up, the nuances are more important than ever. So first off, I'm gonna talk about DPS. So for those of you that don't know, Enfeeble stacks up to 50%, right? So imagine mobs hitting you for 50% less damage. So weapons that has Enfeeble is Great Axe with that huge AoE from Maelstrom, either 14% on close or 25% on the weapon. Next is the Spear with Enfeeble Skewer. It either does 24% on the close or 44% on the weapon. Remember, and Skewer also already has Rend, so it's super high value. For Hatchet, it's Infected Throw. I know this isn't an enfeeble like the other ones on the weapon or the close, but Infected Throw is such a good ability. I know many of you are not running Infected Throw, but I will show you in a video in the future why I'm running it and why I think you all should be running it too. So most of you guys already know about the rend from your weapon abilities, but I just want to take the time to shout out the Sundering Shockwave, because if your team has a lot of AoE damage, then it's insanely useful to just burst those mobs down quickly. So a lot of you guys are thinking, well Benji, where should I put my enfeeble? On my clothes? On my weapons? I don't know what to do. Well, the rule of thumb is if you want to maximize your damage, you have to have enfeeble on your clothes and not on your weapons. Because you have to make room for the best possible combination of perks you can have for damage, right? And for those of you that are running Brutal Heart Rune of Grasping Wines, yes, it's really good for enfeeble and rend, but it has a long cooldown. So if you're not charged all the way up, then you won't be getting your enfeeble, right? And we really need to have that at 100% uptime. I honestly can't stress enough how important enfeeble is, not only for speedrunning, but also for just regular M10s. So let's jump into the healers. So for healers, it's really important to have Nullifying Oblivion. Because if the mutation has a creeping buff, the mobs will become empowered. If you have Nullifying Oblivion, you basically just delete their empower instantly. If you're just too scared to run in and put Oblivion, then you can alternatively run Diminishing Orb. But I'm not entirely sure how long the creeping buff lasts, so it may be useless. Putrefying Scream can be a nice addition for mutations with a lot of healing, like Vampiric, for example. It can be really good. Now, for the life staff, it's really important, and I can't stress this enough, to have Fortifying Sacred Ground. It may be the absolute best perk in the game. If you can't have it on your life staff, then have it on your gear. The difference is honestly between people living or people dying. People look to Sacred Ground like a safe space, and if you don't have Fortifying Sacred Ground, it's absolutely not a safe space. Remember that Fortifying Sacred Ground also work 5 seconds after you exit the Sacred Ground. Mostly you will only be running AoE heals, but I know a lot of people loves to run Refreshing Divine Embrace. If you're a Divine Embrace lover, then you should run it, honestly. Keen Beacon is also a super valuable perk. So I know you're thinking to yourself, oh, I just invested so much gold into my Elemental Aversion armor ward gear. from the winter event, and I'm sorry to say it, but there's not a lot of room for perks if you want to be the best healer possible. Moving on to tanks, there are not many useful tanking perks for making your team go faster. The only thing you can do is go lower con and do more damage. Alternatively, if your offense weapon's a hammer, you can use Sundering Shockwave for the rend. So strap on your Fortifying Shield Rush if you want it, your leadership perk, and you're good to go. There is also possible to run Spear for offhand weapon though, because you will be super tanky, you will be doing a lot of damage if you have Fortifying Perforate and or Enfeeble Skewer on either your weapon or your armor. So thanks guys, that was the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe, all that shenanigans, and let me know if there's a topic you want me to make a video about.